So last week I did the film at number 10. This week I'm doing the film at number 2. And there is a hell of a lot wrong with this film, I tell you that. Let's find out what I'm on about. Avatar is a 2009 American epic science fiction film directed, written, produced and co-edited by James Cameron. It stars Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, Michelle Rodriguez and Sigourney Weaver. The film is set in the mid-22nd century where humans are colonizing Pandora, a lush habitable moon of a gas giant in the Alpha Centauri star system, in order to mine the mineral Unobtanium, a room temperature superconductor. The expansion of the mining colony threatens the continuing existence of the local tribe of the Na'vi, a humanoid species indigenous to Pandora. The film's title refers to a genetically engineered Na'vi body operated from the brain of a remotely located human that is used to interact with the natives of Pandora. The film was released to positive reviews, especially for its special effects. But as I like to say on this channel, there is no such thing as a perfect film, so we are going to talk about 10 things that can make Avatar better. Number 10. James Cameron. Now, I'm not going to slate James Cameron. He's a fantastic visionary director and he deserves all the praise he gets for all of his films. But that being said, this film is too heavily promoted as a James Cameron film. You get the impression that the people behind the film, the studio execs, didn't really believe in this film and they thought this film was going to flop. That's why everything was, this is James Cameron's latest film. No, you want to promote the film for itself, not ram it down that it's James Cameron's film. This film was good enough to actually stand on its own 2 legs. Number 9. 3D. This film actually kickstarted the 3D phase from the 2000s because this film's 3D effects were so impressive. Everyone was just raving about the 3D in this film. Most of my friends weren't telling me how good this film was, they were just telling me about the 3D effects and I should see this film just for that. Was its box office returns just because of the 3D craze or because of the film itself? Well, the thing is, the 3D was that good, it actually for once kickstarted the home 3D stuff so you could still immerse in the 3D scenario at home. Now I'll confess, I've never actually seen the 3D version, but still there was too much emphasis on the 3D. Once again, not on the film itself. Number 8. Story. The Americans actually want what a native culture actually have hidden in their land, so they want them to move on. Does this storyline sound familiar? Pocahontas? Fern Gully? Now before anyone says, well yeah, that's what this film is based on, but this is a lot more in depth, I say wrong, because I will also raise you The Last Samurai or Dances with Wolves. 2 films that this film follows exactly. Now granted that it does have some extra bits, it's a sci-fi setting and has the whole Avatar concept, but still the overall story is not original. You've got an original concept, think of an original story to go with it, but no, they just went with the stereotypical, the Americans are grunts and bad guys. I'm glad I'm English though. Number 7. Oxygen. Now the oxygen of Pandora has lots of different things, but the main thing it actually has is carbon dioxide, which would suffocate us as humans. But the thing is, the planet is full of trees. And what do trees breathe? Well, they breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. I'm not a scientist, but why is this planet's atmosphere hostile to us? Doesn't really make sense. Why is the majority of it carbon dioxide when that's when trees breathe? It doesn't make sense. For a science fiction film, they made some really bad science facts here. Number 6. Unobtanium. So the base of this film is the human race needs a mineral called unobtanium, and the planet, or the moon Pandora, is full of it. So that's why we're there to mine the stuff. But the thing is, unobtanium is a real thing. Well, sort of. It is used in today's science. When scientists come up with an idea of a material, mineral or an element to start with, it's called unobtanium until they actually find it or create it. That's when it gets its real name. Unobtanium is something that doesn't actually exist, it's just theory. That's all it is. The thing is, unobtanium in this film is a real thing. I mean, the administrator actually has some in his office on that little this thing where it's floating above it. Why is it called unobtanium? That's not what unobtanium is. It's a real scientific fact. It's not very scientific, this film. Number 5. Ripping off other films. I've already mentioned that the story for this film isn't really original, but that's not the only thing they ripped off. In fact, they ripped off a few other things from other media. Starting off, Aliens. The mech suits they use are the same ones they used in Aliens, just a little bit more military and a little bit more enclosed, but it's still the same concept. Now granted, James Cameron directed that film as well, so he can get away with that. But he also did rip off the music as well, especially when Jake Sully's on top of the ship that the Colonel's in while he's trying to destroy it. That music at that part of the film is actually from Aliens. But what else did they actually rip off? Well, chasing these creatures, or going over these creatures, is from Jurassic Park. The monsters kicking their feet up while someone's trying to shoot it. That's from Turok, of Dinosaur Adventurer. What else is there? These are just some of the big ones. Do you know of any that this film ripped off? Please put them in the comments below. But yeah, there isn't really that much originality in this film. Number 4. Tracking. The day before they attack the Tree of Souls, they have a meeting. They show a thermal image where everybody is. They know the numbers. They know where they're all stationed. They know where they're all hiding. Okay, that's fine. That's great. I have no issue with that. But when they come to the day of the attack and they're going along, they don't know where anyone is. Sorry, what happened to these thermal images that showed everything? You're using motion trackers. These creatures are standstill and that's it. You can't see them. Why couldn't you use these thermal images from the satellite above? It was already there. It's already been put in the story, and then you just throw it away just to make the story better? No, you just put a big plot point in this film. Number 3. Avatars. I have so many questions actually about these avatars that aren't actually explained in this film. I mean, all they actually really say is it's a vessel that you control using your brainwaves from an avatar that's created by human DNA, mainly the person who's controlling it, and Na'vi DNA. That's the only explanation, but I've got so many more questions about it. How far do these avatars work? Do they have a range limit? Do they have a power time limit? What powers them? There are just so many questions. Can you track them? I mean, that one could have helped the film a lot. But my biggest question is, if these are actually organic, are these technically living, breathing things that with a blank mind that you just stick in your mind into it? Because if that is the case, that does raise some moral questions here. What are your thoughts? Number 2. Mating. So the Na'vi actually use their cues. That's what it's called. The thing that comes from their heads down to their backs with the little tentacles coming up, they're called cues. So when they're mating, they actually put these two together, which I kind of like because it brings you that much closer together. It's very romantic and very intimate. And I kind of like that. Yeah, I'm a romantic at heart. But that's not the problem. The problem is they use these cues to come closer to their animals. Hang on, I'm pretty sure that's borderline bestiality here. You're using the same organs to have sex with, to talk to animals. Am I the only one thinking that's wrong? Number 1. Lenth. This film is nearly 3 hours long. I mean, it's 2 hours and 49 minutes long. That is way too long. I mean, I know Avengers Endgame, which is now number 1, is longer, but this film was a slog to watch. It is too drawn out. Make it that little bit shorter. You should have aimed for around about the 2 hour to 2.5 hour mark, not 3 hours. It was just too long. It did drag out. And what made it worse is that in this film there's quite a lot of slow-mo scenes. Why? You don't need them. You don't need to pad the runtime out because that runtime is too long anyway. But yeah, I just found this film just too long. Final thoughts. Right, I'm just going to get off the bat straight away. The story to me I found very, very boring. There isn't actually that much story. I've seen the story so many times. Like I said, there's Fern Garlic, there's Pocahontas, there's The Last Samurai, there is, Dancing with Wolves. There are so many times this story's been done. Yes, it's got a unique concept and I'm not going to take that away. The actual story has been done to death. It's like Batman origin stories. We don't need that again. So yes, I found this film very boring. But that, bizarrely enough, is the only downside. The special effects are fantastic. Now, I'm not a huge fan of too much CGI because sometimes it looks too computer generated. But this film didn't fall for that trap. This film's CGI is flawless. This is the best film for CGI, and oh my god, it is beautiful. There is a part of me wish I had seen it in 3D. I haven't seen the 3D version. I would have loved to have seen it. But still, yeah, I can't follow it. The acting, the cast they got were brilliant. I loved the Colonel. Sigourney Weaver being a bit of a bitch. It's a nice, unique take. I like everybody. The musical score, once again, is fantastic. Other than the story, there's nothing wrong with this film. In fact, this is probably near enough a perfect film for everything bar the story. The story was just too long. It was just too drawn out. And I just found it boring. Now, I didn't actually, when I watched this film to review it, I actually had to put my phone in a different room. So it made sure this film had my full attention. That is the only thing wrong with this. But what do you think? But before we carry on and end this video, what am I ranking it? Well, as I said, everything about this film is brilliant, except for the story. So I am going to give it 7. 7 out of 10 berries. There you go. There's those beautiful berries. I want a blueberry pie. Anyway, that's it for this week. What do you think? I know lots of people, mainly John Joe, he's going to slag me off in the comments below. Hit the like button on his pinned comment. I will pin his comment below once he's put it up there. But on to next week. Well, I'm going to go back to my childhood. I'm going to go back to one of the first ever video game films. Want to know what I mean? We'll come back next Sunday, 6 PM. Till then, bye-bye.